You were about to do the Undertaker match at WrestleMania. You start working with Batista. It felt like when you came back in that run that everything had kind of clicked. Like you were now going to be a top guy. You know, there'd been flirtations before when you were with Teddy Long on Raw, but this run seemed to be the one. Why do you think at that point it clicked for you?
Exactly what Vince said. It's going to take you 10 years to master what we do. And it was almost 10 years exactly where everything that I thought was like, that's not going to work. But if you do this, it'll work. Like, it just, like, the psychology of it met the athleticism. It met the fact that I could do things physically that other men couldn't do. All of that stuff just started to work in one, like, within a month or two. It just, like, everything was like, Undertaker said to me that, he said, I really think that you can be 10 times better than you are, but you have to work against the best guys. If you're working against, no disrespect, Jamie Noble and Hurricane, then that's where you're going to be. He said, when people see you, they think, oh my God, like, I hope that he's not mad at me or hungry. That was supposed to be fun. And that was he was 100% right. So if you notice that, it took from 2007 to 2011 before the Hall of Pain. During that period, I kept getting hurt. Matches getting ready for WrestleMania, hurt. Oh, I'm back. Wrestling. Oh, getting ready for WrestleMania, hurt. So I had to learn that there was stuff that I didn't need to do. It was too risky, and I was still out there taking risks when I needed to conserve. Can you tell your damn map to leave me alone?
Off.
There you go. Thank you. And that's basically what happened, man. Like, I learned to be more conservative when I needed to be. And that's the thing that with some elite wrestlers, they never learn. And yeah, I walk real bad right now because my back is hurt, but that's because I did that to myself. Nobody did that to me. You have to be able to conserve something and take care of yourself.
Before we talk about the Hall of Pain, I do want to talk about that Undertaker match at WrestleMania 22 that you had. How did you find that you're working with Taker, and is it true that you were considered to end the streak?
Yes, and that was them. Vince and Taker was like, listen, we need to put some, they thought that Taker needed sympathy. I was like, not with me. I was like, everybody gonna hate me, man. I was like, y'all trying to set me up. I thought that they were trying to set me up. That's how ludicrous that sounded to me. I was like, no. You're going to make every wrestler in the world mad at me. And look what happened. What happened when Taker got beat at WrestleMania? How'd y'all feel? Like, and still to this day, there are people that are mad at the fact that Taker got beat. They thought that streak should have went to the grave with him. And I could see that. You know how you could just feel like when something's wrong? Like, I'm like, man, this don't seem right. And I was like, nah, man, don't do that to me, please. And it was like, do you realize, like, how over you'll be? I was like, no, I won't. I might be over with The Office, but I'm not going to be over with the fans. They're going to hate me.
Even not beating the streak, it must have been good for you that, you've worked all these years and now you're in a big WrestleMania match with Undertaker.
I was the only one that whooped his ass in WrestleMania. Go back and look at the match. I beat him from pillar to post, and he won. All the pictures are me choking him, and dropping something on him and catching him and throwing him. And it was like I dominated that match because they wanted him to be put in a situation where it looked like he can be beat. Because Undertaker at that point, he had beat so many people and he had got to the point to where everybody just expected him to win. Just to say that I was a part of a process that helped humanize The Undertaker, I can go to my grave and be happy with that.
Just for my own shits and giggles, what was it like being managed by Tony Atlas?
All I'm gonna say is look up me and Tony in December, and he was my reindeer and I was Santa Claus, and that sums up everything. No, I was a big fan of Tony Atlas's, and Vince said, "Hey, we want to get you a manager. We thought about this person and that person. We got a couple other people that we're thinking about, but we'll see. You know, I haven't heard from this guy. I don't know what happened to Tony Atlas. We're trying to locate him." I said, "Tony Atlas?" And he said, "You like Tony Atlas?" I said, "Man, I always liked Tony Atlas growing up. I saw Tony Atlas wrestling in Lafayette, Louisiana with my grandmother when I was 10, 11. He was like, I said, "I never met him before." I was like, "What's he like?" And Vince was like, "You're going to have to meet him yourself." And I went, "Oh, no, what happened, man?" He was like, No. He said, "Tony had a rough time." And he always had compassion for Tony. And Tony did stuff that he shouldn't have done. But he had came to grips with it. And he was lucky enough to have a woman find him and fix him. A lot of us never change. You know, people say, "Man, once a man is over 17, that's who he is." No, that's not true. Monica found Tony in the park near death and fixed him up and made him a good human. And he's goofy as hell, but like I wouldn't have him no other way because, you know, my respect for him and the fact that Tony really does have a good heart. He just made bad decisions because he's malleable and he's a little gullible at times, and he lets people work him into doing dumb stuff. And when I met Tony, Tony was coming out of being homeless, and he was like, "Man, thank you, man, for giving me an opportunity." I said, "Man, that Vince was the one." He said, "No, Vince told me that you never met me before, that you wanted to meet." I said, "Well, it's both of us." And I enjoyed Tony, you know, telling me from the negative side, because I had so much positive stuff happen that I couldn't see what the negative kind of looked like. And he would sit in the car and drive, and he would tell me his life story every week. After about that third week, I was like, "I know, Tony, I know." Like, he would just tell me, he was like, "No, I'm just telling you, man, because I don't want you to make the mistakes I made." That's a good person. When they experienced all the bad and they don't want you to go through it. Ain't that what your parents say to the kids? Like, "Listen, I'm telling you to go left because if you go right, you're going to fall in a big hole." Like, he was helping me dodge the holes. And I was like, huh. You know, and that's where our relationship, you know, kind of blossomed. And, man, we did some really cool stuff. I had some really, really elite matches with Tony. Man, my matches with Kurt Angle and my matches with Jack Swagger were excellent matches. Excellent matches. And that's, you know, just listening to history, like, "Oh, man, that dude right there remind me of this person. You know, if y'all do this and do that, oh, that'd be good." You know, then I'm talking like Tony. Don't y'all go back and say, "Mark Henry was talking, I'm acting like you."
let's talk.
You ever heard him laugh? It's the worst. Especially in the car.
Poor Tony.
You can't run.